Greetings, family. This is your brother in the kingdom, Emmanuel Destiny. Welcome back to yet another valuable episode, guys. Today, we're talking about when to trade Forex in the London session. And of course, I believe you watched the previous video, and we're gonna be doing it in a very same manner, guys. Make sure you watch this. If you are going to be taking trades within the London session, I'll rather advise you to take trades, and I'll be giving you some good reasons. Before we can go into the actual teaching, guys, we're going to be hosting a masterclass, and here's all of the information, and afterwards we're going straight into the information. Greetings, family. We are going to be hosting a 5-day master class for everybody that wants to learn how to trade indexes, Forex, and of course with different styles such as news trading and fundamentals and understanding the market in depth. This is the class that's made for you, whoever you are, wherever you are at. I'll be teaching you principles and skills and methods that I've learned throughout my 6 years of trading in this industry, guys. And by the way, it's going to be life-changing. And of course, this also includes our ecosystem, guys. You have seen it everywhere. You have seen testimonials. You have seen sniper entries with the system. So after teaching you for the 5 days, we're going to put you in our lifetime support group where we'll also share setups, where we'll also be hosting trainings each and every month just to make sure that we're sharpening you each and every time until you are a nice profitable trader. And of course, guys, if you're really interested in this, kindly do WhatsApp us, Telegram, or DM us, and of course we can tell you all the full details. And of course there's a fee to it, but an affordable one. As you guys know, the original price, but now we are bringing it a bit lower so that everybody who wants to take their trading to the next level may be part of this. Don't miss it, guys. Don't miss it. It's gonna be starting next month, guys. Do not miss this. Everybody is welcome from all over the world. This is your brother in the kingdom, and I hope this message meets you well. When can you trade Forex in the London session? That's what we want to be discussing right now. So as much as now the Asian participants, right, are closing up their shop, they're wrapping up their day, their European counterparties are just beginning their day. So in that sense, while there are several financial sectors or centers in Europe, it is London that market participants such as you and I, we want to keep our eyes on, right? Because historically London has been the center of trade thanks to its strategic location. Okay, and of course today London benefits from its time zone. Okay, number one. London also, two, London's morning overlaps with late during Asia session, and of course London's afternoon overlaps with the New York. So it's a very good one where we get it as the late session of Asia is closing up, it overlaps with London. When the New York comes in, it overlaps with, of course, London. So it's a very good session to find yourself trading in. And it's no wonder that it's considered the Forex capital of the world, with thousands of folks making transactions every single minute in the London session. And of course, about 43% of all Forex traders happen, or rather all transactions happen in London session. And some traders may refer to the London session as also the European session, but many of us, as you know, it's London, but it doesn't matter because we want to make money anyway. So that's what matters right here. So I'll be sharing with you, hence I did with the last episode, pairs that I'll refer for you to trade or prefer for you to trade according to the database that I was able to pick up, right? So there are certain pairs, as we can see here, that have high database, but we'll go through each and every one of them, and I'll advise you which one is best for you to make money, right? So we have the Euro USD over there at 83%, or rather 83 pips. So that's the average. So this is only average range or pips that they can, hit due to us monitoring them daily, not us the people that actually did that study, right? So I'm just delivering the content and the information. So we have GBPUSD, you can see 82 pips, that's some good pips. With USD JPY, the lowest of course, 36 pips. With AUD USD, 60 pips. With NZD USD, 64, USD CAD 66, USD Chef 58, and of course we have the Euro JPY 80 pairs, and 80 pips. With GBP JPY 102, and of course we have AUD JPY 86, and then of course we have GDP Euro GDP, that's 40 pips. With Euro Swiss, that's 30 pips. So we can clearly see already, one doesn't need to prophesy here, we can clearly see exactly which ones are the highest that you may trade. We can see that's GDP GDP yen. That's the one that you can trade, guys. It has the highest pip count during the London session. My favorite, of course, it's GBPUSD. I love it because of the balance of the two major pairs, currencies there. So I love it so much. Unlike this one, it's called a major cross, right? So major cross. So we're taking one major currency and of course another one right there, major cross. So I can recommend you to trade GBPUSD or Euro USD. So we are basically taking the highest of AUD JPY. So you can literally trade these ones because there's a lot of momentum that you will find. But again, guys, you want to be a trade specialist on just 2 or 3 pairs. That's it. So if you got GBPUSD, Euro USD, and GBP JPY, you're good. You're good, guys. Okay, so I just hope you're listening, you're writing notes, you're commenting, you're subscribing, because we got the vibe, we got the information, and we got the pips that you're gonna be catching on this pass, right? Great. So now we want to talk about what are some other neat facts rather that the European session has that you need to know. Because the London session crosses with 2 major trading sessions, the London session is being such a key financial center. A large chunk of transactions, of course, take place during this time. This leads to high liquidity. So why should you trade high liquidity and a potential of lower transaction costs, like lower pip spreads? So because there's high liquidity and is the most traded, a lot of brokers will charge you less spreads, unlike the Tokyo session. Okay, one thing I didn't mention in the previous video. And due to the large number of transactions that take place, the London trading session is normally the most volatile. So I love it very much. And because most trends begin during the London session, and they typically will continue in the beginning of the New York session. So it's a good one as an intraday trader. So that means if you're in South Africa or London, or a time that correlates with Europe, basically, you will find yourself beautifully trading each and every time where you put your trade in the morning, in the afternoon, that's when you actually close in profit. It's a beautiful time to be trading Forex. Of course, volatility tends to die down in the middle of the session, but as traders, we often go off to lunch, just relax a bit until the New York session comes in. So as the session begins to go into the middle, it begins to be a bit slower, right? So now I'm teaching you how the market moves. It begins to be a bit slower. That's when sometimes I may actually take my profit, and of course I'll take another trade during the New York session. That's how I do it. And of course, trends can sometimes reverse at the end of the London session, as the European traders decide to either lock profits or close profits. Okay, so that's one piece of information that you guys ought to know. Now we're going to be going into which pairs should you trade in the London session. Because of the volume of transactions that take place, there's so much volatility, liquidity during the European session that most of the pairs actually move, right? But we want to concentrate on the key factors and the reasons thereof. So of course, it may be best to stick to with the major pairs: Euro USD, GBPUSD, USD JPY, USD Chef. They're normally the tightest, but now you gotta juggle that. You wanna trade the tightest spreads, or you wanna trade a pair that has the most liquidity. So the ones that I recommended for you, GDP, JPY, are the ones that move the most. GBPUSD, they're the ones that move the most in Euro USD. But other pairs, like especially the USD JPY, it has the smallest spreads out there. Most brokers, they don't quite charge you large spreads. Again, go watch that episode where I was talking about spreads and different types of brokers that you ought to know as an individual, right? Also, there's some pairs that normally directly influenced by news report that comes out during the European session. So you can also try out some yen crosses, especially GDP, JPY, as they tend to be volatile always at or rather during the London session. And because the cross pairs, the spreads might be a little bit wild, but of course you want money, you want to make it quickly. GDP, JPY, that's your pair, guys. Anyway, I just hope that you were blessed by this short and simple and straight to the point. And of course, you are making this channel all the way from South Africa, your number one educational channel out there, because we're gonna be plugging you with information the rest of your life. Definitely this channel, praise God. Anyway, make sure that you subscribe, like, and also share this video with your friends and family, and you catch us on the next episode. We're gonna be talking about the New York session.